Hey guys, it's Medicosis Perfectionalis, where medicine makes perfect sense, continuing our physiology playlist. In the last video, we had an introduction about GI physiology. Today, we'll dig deeper into the electrical activity of GI smooth muscles, and we have two types of electricity. We have the slow wave rhythm and we have the spike potential. The slow wave rhythm is not a true action potential, but the spike potential is. Now let's get started. Please watch the videos in this playlist in order. Here's the GI in a nutshell. Digestion and then absorption. It goes to the portal venous system, liver, metabolism, and then you give it to the heart to get those juicy nutrients to the body organs. If you were not digested and therefore not absorbed, you will end up in the stool. The muscles of your gut are smooth muscles, which means non-striated, non-branching, involuntary. Do they have troponin? No, but they do have calmodulin instead. During resting membrane potential, the inside of the membrane is negative. If you want to activate it, a positive has to enter, such as sodium in cases of nerves, or calcium in cases of smooth muscles. Do you remember when we talked about the heart versus the gut? The heart has its own conduction system by the SA node and the AV node. The pacemaker is the SA node. Similarly, the gut has its own autonomy, known as the enteric nervous system and the interstitial cells of Cajal. If you want to increase the speed or decrease the speed, that's a different story. These are nerve fibers, sympathetic or parasympathetic. Similarly, if you want to increase motility or decrease motility, increase secretions or decrease secretions, that's a different story. Now we're talking about the parasympathetic or the sympathetic nervous system. But even if I cut the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, the heart will continue to pump and the gut will continue to squeeze. In the SA node and AV node, what caused depolarization? Calcium influx. How about in the spike potential of your gut? What causes depolarization? Calcium influx as well. Autonomic nervous system is not just sympathetic and parasympathetic. It also includes enteric nervous system. Myenteric for motility, submucosal for secretion. The myenteric is in the musculosa, but the submucosal is in the submucosa. Let's rearrange it in a better way. There is the enteric nervous system of your gut. It's working no matter what. It has myenteric for motility and submucosal for secretion. Myenteric is in the musculosa, submucosal is in the submucosa. What if I want to boost motility? Talk to the parasympathetic that can boost motility from the outside by stimulating the enteric. What if I want to boost the secretions? Parasympathetic can help you boost it. But even without the parasympathetic, the enteric nervous system can still move and secrete. What if I want to inhibit motility and secretion? Talk to the sympathetic. During rest, we have the resting membrane potential. Upon stimulation, let me ask you, did you reach threshold? Yeah. That's the action potential. No, I was not able to reach threshold. This is local response. In nerve fibers, depolarization was caused by sodium influx. But in the smooth muscles of your gut, the spike potential depolarization is caused by calcium influx. In the last video, we talked about the difference between slow wave potential and spike potential. Let me remind you. Slow wave potential is not a true action potential because we did not reach the threshold. Since it's not a true action potential, it will not cause actual contractions. Conversely, spike potentials are true action potentials because we did reach the threshold and they do cause contractions of your gut smooth muscles. Look at that. Here's the resting membrane potential of my gut. It's between -50 and -60. Let's say -55. And then who's that humming in the background? Slow wave potential. Do they reach threshold? No, they do not reach the threshold. They did not reach the -40 millivolts. They are here undulating up and down, up and down, up and down until one of them reaches threshold and boom, we have the spike potential. Depolarization is caused by calcium influx. Repolarization is caused by potassium efflux. And there you go, the comparison. Slow waves versus spike potential. Slow waves are also known as basic electrical rhythm because they are humming in the background, on top of which spike potential might happen. So here's your foreground and here's your background. Slow wave potentials, not true action potentials. They do not reach the threshold and they do not cause contractions. They are just slow undulating changes of the resting membrane potential, up and down, up and down, up and down, initiated by the pacemaker of the gut, the interstitial cells of Cajal. What's the cause? No one knows why. Probably cyclical activation and inactivation of the sodium-potassium pump, the same pump that's responsible for the resting membrane potential. These slow waves are very rhythmical. In the stomach, they happen 3 times per minute, the duodenum about 12 times per minute, terminal ileum about 9 times per minute. Undulations, up and down, up and down, up and down. Depolarization, repolarization, depolarization, repolarization. 3 times per minute, or 12 times per minute, or 9 times per minute, depending on the location. The good news is one of them will eventually reach threshold and giving you the spike potential. The spike potential, true action potential, because we reach the threshold. What's the threshold in your gut? About negative 40 millivolts. These spikes potential are true action potential, therefore they cause contractions. They occur automatically when depolarization reaches the threshold. The higher the slow wave potentials, the greater the frequency of the spike potentials, because you need the background in order to have a foreground. This reminds me of endochondral ossification. The cartilages need to die first. On top of that cartilage, I will lay down new bone. What's the frequency of spike potentials? About 1 to 10 spikes per second. The spike lasts just milliseconds. Spikes are super fast. What causes depolarization? Calcium influx. If you want to say calcium and sodium influx, that's fine as well. Repolarization, potassium efflux. What are the factors that are trying to boost the depolarizations? Stretch of the gut, acetylcholine, parasympathetic nervous system, and some gut hormones. What are the factors that repolarize the membrane? Epinephrine, norepinephrine, and the sympathetic nervous system. Because remember that parasympathetic was rest and digest, but sympathetic is fight-flight. When you're running from a tiger, there is no time to rest and digest. The slow wave potentials are very important. They are the background on top of which you lay the foreground. And you know these numbers are super important because they determine the rhythm of contraction. If you ask me how many times your stomach contracts per minute, it's about 3. How about the duodenum? 12 per minute. How about the terminal ileum? 9 per minute. Who determined that? Slow waves. Look at that. Resting membrane potential is about negative 55. The threshold is negative 40 millivolts. Here is the resting membrane potential. Undulations are called slow waves or basic electrical rhythm. One of them will reach the threshold and boom, you have spike potentials. What's the cause of depolarization? Calcium entry. What is the cause of the repolarization? Potassium is leaving. Okay, once calcium enters, all of your smooth muscle fibers will contract together in one unit because they are syncytium. They contract in synchrony thanks to the gap junctions. Pause and review. And then when calcium influx takes place, what's going to happen next? Calcium is going to act on the calcium calmodulin system, which is a calcium modulating protein which causes contraction of smooth muscles so that your gut can squeeze and secrete. Here's the calcium binding calmodulin activating the kinase. The kinase is an enzyme that adds phosphate. When you add phosphate to the myosin light chain, it becomes myosin light chain phosphate, which is very active, which causes contraction. If you want the muscle to relax, you do the opposite. Get a phosphatase to remove the phosphate from the myosin light chain phosphate so that it becomes myosin light chain without the phosphate, which is relaxed. Next, what are the tonic contractions of some GI muscles? Well, the word tonic means continuous, not rhythmic, like contract, relax, contract, relax. No. This is continuous contraction. They might even last hours. What? Just a singular continuous contraction? Yes, indeed. What's the cause? Continuous repetitive spike potential, continuous calcium influx, or hormones. Do you think these can lead to cramps? Yeah. Back to the wall of your gut. Look at that. Here is my epithelium, which is the mucosa, followed by submucosa, connective tissue, followed by musculose, smooth muscles, inner circular layer, outer longitudinal layer. And then you have the serosa, which is connective tissue once again, covered by the nice peritoneum. Where should I put my myenteric and submucosa? You'll put the submucosal in the submucosa, and your myenteric plexus is here. Pause and review. Submucosal is in the submucosa for secretions. Myenteric is in the musculosa for motility. Which part of the smooth muscle layer? It's exactly between the inner circular and the outer longitudinal layer. Look at that. Here's the mucosa, here's the submucosa, here is the musculosa. Who's in the submucosa? The submucosal plexus, which is for secretions. Thank you. Next, there is the musculosa. Who's there? Myenteric for motility in the musculosa. Look at that. Beautiful. Oh, by the way, these neurons will synapse with these neurons. Okay, so I have one for motility and one for secretion. What if I want more motility? Talk to the parasympathetic that's coming from the outside to boost motility. But even without parasympathetic, motility can still happen by the enteric nervous system alone. In other words, the gut has its own brain. In other words, the gut has automaticity. What if I want to suppress motility and or secretions? Talk to the sympathetic nervous system. Please remember that the sympathetic nervous system is fight-flight. There is no time for digestion or absorption. Sympathetic fibers that go to the gut are usually thoracic for the abdomen and lumbar for the pelvis. As for the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest, you need the vagus, who is the hero of the entire gut, except the uppermost end. I will leave it to cranial nerves 7 and 9, and the lowermost end, I will leave it to the pelvic nerves, which is sacral 2, sacral 3, and sacral 4 roots. See, medicine makes so much sense once you understand what the flip you're talking about. If you like this video, I have an entire course on renal physiology. You can download it today at medicosisperfectionalis.com. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, hit the bell, and click on the join button. You can support me here or here. Go to my website to download my courses. Be safe, stay happy, study hard. This is Medicosis Perfectionalis, where medicine makes perfect sense.